Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Manchester United to beat Arsenal in this huge Premier League weekend, which involves not just Manchester United's trip to Arsenal, it also involves Chelsea's trip to Liverpool and some massively entertaining and interesting games involving relegation teams. Lots to get involved in on the Premier League preview. It's my favourite time of the week. Let's get into it. But before we get into it, let's talk about a little bit of breaking news. Coming in from Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal are closing in on a deal to sign Polish centre-back Jakub Kwiatkowski from Spezia. He will go for about 20 million euros. Look, let's not pretend we know anything about him, but what we can say is that it's Arsenal spending money in January backing the manager that's doing really, really well. And if that's a player that Arsenal want, I ain't going to laugh at it because I don't know much about him. It's a player that Arsenal want, that Arteta wants. That's their second one in 2 days. They've got 2 players in January already for a team that needs backup. Fantastic, superb. You cannot argue with that if you're an Arsenal fan. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and that's how a manager should be rewarded in a season where we've had a World Cup. It's going to be relentless. Players are going to get injured. They're going to get tired, and you're giving them options. So really, really good, really good signing by Arsenal. That by the signs of it, and also Chelsea trying to get hold of Caicedo. What a signing that would be. Chelsea have bought a lot of players, but apparently Brighton are going to hold out and say no. Be very interesting to watch that in the next 10 days because if Caicedo fancies the move to Chelsea, that's when it becomes difficult for Brighton, as we saw with Trossard. So keep your eye on that. I think that would be Chelsea's signing of January if they get if they get Caicedo. I know Felix is a good player, Mudryk is a good player, but I really do think that if they can get hold of Caicedo, that would be fantastic. I also like Badiashile as well. But let's get into the show. It's the Premier League preview, and what a weekend we've got. We're going to start off with Manchester United's trip to Arsenal. Manchester United to beat Arsenal. Look, I've already done my preview on the United stand, so I can't sit here and say we're going to win 3-0. I think I went with a draw. I would sit here and honestly, I'm not here to start being a Billy Big Bollocks and say United are going to win because I'm a United fan. I think that's naive. And I'll be absolutely honest here. I'll be absolutely honest. If Manchester United weren't managed by Erik ten Hag in exactly the same circumstances, I would say I can't see Manchester United getting a win. I don't see how I don't see how we win this game. I really don't. But the way we can beat them and how Manchester United can win this game is Erik ten Hag, because this season he's just been so good. I mean, Arsenal fans will tell you that anyway. You know, you should have beat us at Old Trafford. You were the better team in the second half. You made it 1-1, and then Arteta went for it, and ten Hag hit him on the break, and he beat him. Man City last week go 1-0 up. They spent 60 minutes trying to break us down. They finally do it, and you think that's it. Makes a couple of changes, and we go and win the game. So Ten Hag is dangerous. He's dangerous tactically, and his in-game management's been very good. So I think Man United can beat Arsenal because they've got Erik ten Hag. But if we didn't have Erik ten Hag, I'm looking at that Arsenal side, and I'm saying you can pick their team. Maybe they've been a bit lucky with that, but also you've got to build it. You can pick that team. You know that team. And they're at home, they defend well, they attack well, they're top of the league, they've just bought a couple of players, they're buzzing, momentum, excitement. There's a little bit of pressure from Man City coming, with Man City winning last night, and they've still got to play them twice, so it's a must-win game for Arsenal. And I think, logically, Arsenal are huge favourites. I expect them to win. And as I said, if Ten Hag wasn't in charge, I don't see how United do win this game, because Arsenal defend well. Martial might not be fit. I don't think Weghorst is really going to cause Arsenal problems. Rashford's the only attacker we've got at the moment that's really going to score goals. So if you keep him quiet, where do the goals come from? Bruno looked knackered against Crystal Palace. Casemiro's not in the midfield. And we have got a good defence, but where are the goals coming from? So that's why I predicted a draw on the United stand. So I can't see how Man United win this game, apart from Erik ten Hag is the coach, and he probably will have a plan to do it, and he wouldn't be surprised if he did. So, look, Man United to beat Arsenal, yes, they can. Vast majority of me says Arsenal will win it. But Ten Hag is the hope, as ever. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But I'd put Arsenal as huge favourites. And when you look at the league table on my left-hand side, an Arsenal win would really make it between them and Man City, because Arsenal have a game in hand on Manchester United. So if they were to win on Sunday, 50 points, 11 points ahead of Man United with a game in hand. They've just bought 2 players in January. Man United are loaning players from Burnley. it's not like we've got a squad that's going to hunt them down. So I think if Arsenal beat Man United on Sunday, it's between them and City for the title, which is what I've always thought it was, but maybe there's been a little bit of hope that that wouldn't be the case. And that would then open up the top four race. And I want to talk about Liverpool against Chelsea because we're doing that as a watch-along at 12:30 tomorrow. Liverpool against Chelsea at Anfield. Liverpool currently in 9th, Chelsea in 10th. It's a mid-table battle. Who thought we'd ever be saying that about Liverpool and Chelsea? It's a mid-table battle. Obviously, they're not mid-table teams. They're both in odd situations, but they are technically mid-table. Which one of those two teams can get out of this situation? Well, I'm struggling to read that there. Chelsea have played 19 games, have they? Bloody hell. Liverpool got a game in hand. Okay, so Liverpool have a game in hand. If they won that 31, that puts them 8 points off Manchester United in third, 7 points off Newcastle. So Liverpool need to win this game. Chelsea, I think Chelsea's season's really difficult. But you know what? We are halfway through the season. And therefore, there's another 57 points to play for. So, you know, Chelsea, with the players they're buying, if they found some rhythm, they could go on a good run. But this league is so competitive. I think it's really difficult for Liverpool or Chelsea to get top four. And I would say tomorrow, a draw helps neither of them. Obviously, a loss helps neither of them. But if you win that game, whether it's Liverpool or Chelsea, you've then got to go on a good run. You can't afford to go on a bad run because Liverpool or Chelsea are the only two, really, I think, that can challenge Newcastle or United for top four. I think Tottenham are gone. I just think Tottenham are in a bad place. And, you know, Fulham, Brighton and Brentford are having a nosebleed. They're having a great season. But it's Liverpool or Chelsea for the, you know, to challenge for the top four. And I think that's the enormity of the game tomorrow. So I've gone for a draw Arsenal, Man United, and I'm going to go for Liverpool and Chelsea to actually draw as well. I think that could be a 1-1. But as I said, that doesn't necessarily help either team, does it, really? Let's have a look at the bottom half of the table because we don't normally spend time looking at the bottom half of the table, do we? And I think tomorrow it's quite interesting. It is about relegation tomorrow, and let's have a look at that table. So it's Southampton at the bottom, it's Everton and West Ham down there. But look at that, 15 points for Southampton. You've got Forest on 20 points. So 5 points separate the bottom 7. And even better than that, 2 points separate the bottom 6. Forest play Bournemouth tomorrow. Bournemouth are going to go down. I've said this before, but if they could win tomorrow, it maybe just brings Forest back into it. Forest have been on a good run. I think Forest will win that 2-1. Leicester play Brighton. Leicester have got themselves right back in the problems again. Brighton are playing really well. I can't see Leicester winning this. I'm just going to go with a Brighton win, which continues their fantastic form. I'm going to go 2-0 to Brighton. Southampton against Aston Villa. Again, bottom of the league against mid-table Villa. Difficult. Southampton have had a couple of good results, but I do think they'll go down. Villa look a lot better. I'm going to go for a draw in that 1-1-1. And then the biggest game at 3 o'clock is West Ham against Everton. I mean, two massive, massive clubs in the bottom, 6? Bottom three, Everton and West Ham, sorry. It's the relegation battle between two clubs who I don't think West Ham will go down, and they are at home tomorrow. I think Everton are in all sort. I mean, I said this a couple of weeks ago. Everton lost last week to Southampton. If they lose to West Ham tomorrow, and Lampard gets sacked, and they do bring a Sean Dyche in, I'd be saying, why didn't you give me the job 2 weeks ago, you prats? Like, Southampton at home and West Ham away, against relegation rivals, you gave Lampard 2 more games, and you lost them both. You prats. So, Everton have got to get a result tomorrow, because if they don't, they probably will sack Lampard, and then it's like, why didn't you do it before the Bournemouth game? Because you would have got the bounce against rivals. I fancy West Ham to win. Despite what I've just said, I fancy West Ham to win. I don't think West Ham can go down. I think David Moyes is a very experienced coach, and they've got some good players. So I fancy West Ham to win that, and I'm actually going to go with a stupid score. I'm going to go 3-0 to West Ham, which is completely and utterly illogical. West Ham don't score many, and Everton are quite good defensively, but I think we might see a silly result, so I'm going to go 3-0. Crystal Palace against Newcastle, massive game. We're back to Palace, who are sort of mid-table, but got a good point against United. Newcastle, who defend very well. Let's not forget, Newcastle currently in the league are they're not down anywhere, they're up. They're up in 4th place. A win for them would really be a good boost, because they'd probably go up to 3rd if United don't win at Arsenal, and it opens up a nice gap for Newcastle. So there's a 3-point reward there. I thought Crystal Palace played quite well against Manchester United without really creating anything. So again, I think it'll be quite a tight game. I think it will be 1-0 one way or the other. Yeah, it's a tough one. You flip a coin on this. I'm going to go 1-0 to... I'm going to go 1-0 to Palace, actually. I'm going to go for the Palace win. Might be completely wrong. Into Sunday, we spoke about Arsenal against Manchester United. You've got Man City at home to Wolves. Got easy win. 2 or 3-0 to Man City, that. Leeds at home to Brentford's really interesting. I think Leeds are better than their position, but they're right down there. Brentford, fantastic at the moment. But I'm going to go with a home win. I'm going to go Leeds to win that 2-1. And then Fulham against Tottenham again on Monday night at 8 o'clock. Really interesting. I won't be doing a watch-along for it because I find Spurs really painful to watch. But Fulham at home against Spurs, London derby. I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs won that, you know. That's typical Spurs. I think Spurs will win. I'm going to say Spurs win 2-1. Even though logically Spurs are terrible and Fulham are doing well, I actually think Spurs will do what Spurs do and they'll go and win that and confuse us because that's what Spurs do. So I'm going to go with the Spurs win there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm going to go with Spurs win. But what a weekend of football we've got ahead of us. And tomorrow lunchtime, 12 o'clock, I will be live. Chelsea's trip to Liverpool. And on the United stand on Sunday, I will be live in the afternoon for Arsenal against Manchester United. And don't forget, tomorrow night on national radio, 7:30 till 9 o'clock, it's the Mark Goldbridge show. Call in. And we'll have loads to talk about. We'll have the Liverpool-Chelsea game, Palace against Newcastle, and all those relegation games. I think tomorrow night, I predict on the Goldbridge call-in, and we're live on YouTube as well, I think we're going to get a lot of angry fans who are Evertonian, Southampton, whatever they call themselves, and maybe a few Bournemouth. But we'll see. We'll see. Get your... Main thing is, get your comments in below. What are you thinking? What do you think about Arsenal buying this Polish centre-back? Do you think Caicedo will end up at Chelsea? I think he will. I do. I think Brighton will have to concede him at some point in the next 10 days. And your Premier League thoughts. What are your thoughts on the United game, the Chelsea game, the relegation? Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. Watch along tomorrow. Tune in. And don't forget, I'm on Twitch at 3 o'clock if you're watching this before for my Man United career mode. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care, everyone.